Have you ever heard something that sounds completely bonkers only to find out it's 100% scientifically true? It happens more often than you'd think. Our brains are wired to trust our gut feelings, but sometimes reality is way stranger than fiction. Today, we're diving into some mind-bending scientific facts that many people still refuse to believe. Get ready to have your world turned upside down. Let's start with a classic. Glass is a liquid. You've probably heard this one, maybe from a tour guide in an old church pointing at the wavy, thicker at the bottom window panes. They'll tell you that over centuries, the glass has slowly flowed downwards like super thick honey. It's a romantic image, but it's completely wrong. The truth is, glass is an amorphous solid. That means its atoms are jumbled up like a liquid's, not in a neat, orderly crystal structure like a typical solid. This is why it's transparent. But it is definitely a solid. It doesn't flow at a rate we could ever observe. Those wavy old windows, they were just made that way. Early glassmaking techniques weren't perfect, and that's all there is to it. So next time someone tries to tell you glass is a liquid, you can politely set the record straight. All right, let's talk about bananas. What if I told you that bananas are berries, but strawberries aren't? I know, it sounds like a riddle, but it's botanically correct. In botany, a berry is a fruit that develops from a single flower with one ovary and typically has seeds embedded in the flesh. Think of blueberries, grapes, and, yes, bananas. The tiny black specks in the middle of a banana are its infertile seeds. But strawberries? They develop from a flower with multiple ovaries, making them an aggregate accessory fruit. All those little seeds on the outside of a strawberry are actually individual fruits, each containing a single seed. So, a strawberry is a bunch of tiny fruits all hanging out together. Mind blown. Here's one that will make you rethink your daily commute. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, time moves slower for objects that are moving faster. This isn't just a sci-fi concept. It's a measurable phenomenon called time dilation. If you were to hop on a super-fast spaceship, travel near the speed of light, and then return to Earth, you would have aged less than everyone you left behind. This effect is happening all the time, even when you're just driving your car. The difference is incredibly tiny, but it's real. In fact, the GPS satellites orbiting Earth have to constantly adjust their clocks because time for them is literally ticking faster than it is for us down here on the ground. Without these adjustments, your GPS would be off by several miles every single day. Now, let's look up at the sky. You see the sun, right? Well, not really. You're actually seeing the sun as it was about 8 minutes and 20 seconds ago. That's how long it takes for light from the sun to travel the 93 million miles to reach our eyes. So, if the sun were to suddenly disappear, we wouldn't know about it for over 8 minutes. This cosmic delay applies to everything we see in the universe. The nearest star, Proxima Centauri, is over 4 light-years away, so we see it as it was 4 years ago. When we look at the Andromeda Galaxy, we're seeing it as it was 2.5 million years in the past. Looking at the night sky is literally looking back in time. It's the universe's own time machine. Ready for a brain twister? You are more bacteria than you are human. For a long time, the accepted ratio was 10-1, meaning for every human cell in your body, there were 10 bacterial cells. More recent research has revised that number down to a more modest 1.3-1, but the point still stands. You're a walking, talking ecosystem. These trillions of microbes, known as your microbiome, live on your skin and inside your gut. And they're not just freeloaders. They play a crucial role in digesting your food, training your immune system, and even influencing your mood. So, the next time you feel lonely, just remember the trillions of little friends you're carrying around with you. Okay, let's talk about our own planet. The Earth isn't a perfect sphere. We learn in school that it's a ball, but that's a simplification. Because of its rotation, the Earth bulges out at the equator and is slightly flattened at the poles. This shape is called an oblate spheroid. This means that if you were to stand at the equator, you'd be farther from the center of the Earth than if you were standing at the North or South Pole. And here's a fun consequence of that. Because gravity is weaker the farther you are from the center, you technically weigh slightly less at the equator than you do at the poles. It's not enough to skip the gym, but it's a cool fact. Have you ever wondered why we have seasons? The common misconception is that it's because the Earth's distance from the sun changes. People think we're closer in the summer and farther away in the winter, But that's not it at all. In fact, for the Northern Hemisphere, the Earth is actually closest to the Sun in January. The real reason for the seasons is the tilt of the Earth's axis. Our planet is tilted at about 23.5 degrees. So during our summer, the Northern Hemisphere is tilted towards the Sun, receiving its rays more directly and for longer periods. During winter, it's tilted away. It's all about the angle of the sunlight, not the distance. Here asks another one that flies in the face of common sense. Goldfish don't have a 3-second memory. This is a myth that's been around forever, but it's been thoroughly debunked. Scientists have conducted numerous studies showing that goldfish can remember things for months, if not longer. They can be trained to navigate mazes, ring bells for food, and even recognize different colors and music. One teenager even trained his goldfish to play soccer. So that tiny fish in your bowl is a lot smarter than you might think. They remember their environment and the people who feed them. They're not just endlessly surprised by their surroundings every 3 seconds. Let's go from small fish to giant structures. The Great Wall of China is not visible from space with the naked eye. This is another one of those facts that just won't die. It's often cited as the only man-made object visible from the moon. But astronauts, including Neil Armstrong, have repeatedly confirmed you can't see it. Think about it. The wall is long, but it's only about 20 feet wide. Seeing it from low Earth orbit would be like trying to see a single human hair from 2 miles away. You can see things like airports and highways, but only because they contrast sharply with their surroundings. The Great Wall, made of stone and earth, blends in too well. Finally, let's talk about the brain itself, the organ that's trying to process all this new information. You've surely heard the myth that we only use 10% of our brains. This idea is so popular it's been the premise for movies and TV shows. But it's completely false. Brain scans show that we use virtually every part of our brain, and that most of the brain is active almost all the time, even when we're sleeping. Different parts have different functions, but they all work together. There are no dormant, unused areas just waiting to be unlocked to give us superpowers. The brain is an incredibly efficient and complex organ, and it uses all the resources it has. So you're already using 100% of your brain, and it's doing a pretty amazing job. So, which of these facts surprised you the most? It just goes to show that science is constantly revealing a universe that is far more complex and fascinating than our everyday intuition might suggest. It's a great reminder to stay curious, ask questions, and be open to changing our minds when presented with new evidence. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through some unbelievable but true scientific facts. If you enjoyed getting your mind blown, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that challenges what you think you know. And don't forget to ring the notification bell so you won't miss our next video. See you next time.